Donna, be good. I wasn't even looking at her and she knew exactly what I was talking about. On behalf of CAR, I would like to call the meeting to order this morning and welcome you all to the March General Membership Meeting. Our program today will include the annual induction of members into the CAR Professional Honor Society, the announcements of our annual awards honorees and Good Neighbor Awards recipients. We'll also do the graduation ceremony for the Pat Jensen Leadership Academy for the class of 2023. To begin our meeting today, I welcome you to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. At this time, I would like to acknowledge the CAR antitrust statement. This statement ensures that we encourage discussions that promote all realtors and does not restrict competition among members or potential members. We work to foster a forum for an open discussion of diverse opinions without attempting in any way to discourage or sanction any business practices. The CAR antitrust statement will be acknowledged before every CAR meeting. The full copy of the antitrust statement is available at the registration desk for in-person attendees, and for those online through Zoom, there is a handout there as well. We will move on to the approval of the minutes from our February general membership meeting. The members were included in this morning's handouts. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as they were distributed? If so, please raise your hand or submit your feedback using the Zoom chat window. If none, they stand as distributed. Thank you. We are extremely grateful to our sponsors for stepping up and helping us with this program this morning. Special sponsors and supporting sponsors: Farm Credit of Virginia, Virginia Development Housing, Virginia Development Homes, Virginia Credit Union, and our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion DEI presenting sponsor, Virginia Housing. At this time, I would like to invite Adrian Whitaker, Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion from Virginia Housing, to share a few words. She's making her way on up. Come on up.
Good morning. Well, you all have given me a wonderful reason to drive to one of my favorite places, and that's Charlottesville, because it's so beautiful here. But I am Adrian Whitaker, and I am the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer for Virginia Housing. At Virginia Housing, we refer to DEI as IDEA. And so we add an A, and that A is for access. And the reason we added that A is because it ties very closely to our mission, which is helping Virginians attain affordable housing. And for us, that means all Virginians throughout our 50-year history. with no barriers, no discrimination, no racism or obstacles. We are excited to be its sponsor today because this is an opportunity for us to bring people together, to fellowship together, to learn together, and to grow together. So thank you for having this event and giving us an opportunity to be the sponsor.
Thank you, Adrian. She's a little taller than me, so I have to put it back down. We value the professionalism, service, and support of our affiliates at CAR and its members. If you are joining us on Zoom, please review the handouts to learn more about the affiliates that we have here, or go visit our table in between for those of you in the room. To build a diverse, equitable, and inclusive association that equips members to grow as ethical and responsible professionals, CAR is committed to bringing influential speakers to broaden our mindset and to change possibly the ways that we think about things and our approaches to different situations. Through this effort of diversity, equity, and inclusion, the DEI Council, we are thrilled to welcome Jason Elliott, who will help us understand the basic terminologies with ease and help make us feel comfortable when dealing with the LGBTQ+ community. A lifelong Virginian, Jason has called Charlottesville his home since 2010, a graduate of Tidewater Community College and the University of Virginia. He is a veteran public health professional with most of his career dedicated to inclusive sexual health education and HIV prevention. Jason's own journey through coming out and mental health and personal growth led him to establish the Jason Elliott Show, and he began traveling as a speaker, a workshop facilitator, and a curator of inclusive events. If you have any questions during Jason's presentation, please raise your hand and one of the staff will come to you with a microphone. And in Zoom, please use the chat feature, the Q&A. Jason, I welcome you. I turn the meeting over to you.
Thank you. Thanks. Good morning. She thought I was excited to come up here. I was just excited to get the thing I forgot to grab. I'm really excited to be here today. Thank you so much for having me. I'm not going to mess with this because I'm even a little taller than Adrian was. But I am really excited that all of you are here because it'd be boring to talk to an empty room for sure. So I know you're probably wondering kind of what we're doing here today. We're going to do a whole lot in a little bit, but there's a reason why that you'll find out as we go along. As you can see, we're just going to talk about an introduction to safer spaces and kind of LGBTQ 0.5 101. There's a whole lot that we have to cover, so we're not even going to try to do all of it today, just the highlights. Like I said, my name is Jason Elliott. I prefer he, him, his pronouns. And if that doesn't make sense to you, that's okay, because it was new to me at one time too. We'll talk about pronouns and kind of what that means in a little bit. But here we go. Today, I want to tell you a little bit about what we're going to do. First of all, if pronouns don't make sense, or if you want to learn more, I'm telling you right now, March 29th, that's the date that I want you to mark in your calendar. That's the very first thing we're going to do today. I'll be back to do a more in-depth presentation in a class with you on LGBTQ 101. We'll talk about a little bit more than what we have the time to do today, and it'll be a really good time. Also, I forgot to tell you that I'm a wanderer. That's why I asked for a wireless mic. I was given the perimeter of the stage for everybody on Zoom. Hi. But if that bothers you too much, close your eyes. Okay. Where do I point this to make it actually go. Boom. All right. Here are the other, look, just to get ahead of the game, this is what we're going to do. The other things we're going to do today, you're going to meet me, get to know a little bit more about me. We're going to take a look at a couple of statistics, and then we're going to learn some letters, come up with an action step, and my favorite part, it worked. There are way too many screens for me to pick from over here. You're going to ask an expert, or at least somebody who has a little bit of lived experience. I'm going to try to go a little bit quicker because honestly, that is the part that I think it's the most helpful. Because a lot of times we don't have the opportunity to look at somebody and say, hey, you identify as an LGBTQ community member. Let me ask you something that's been on my mind for years. And that's really what we can do today. If you don't feel comfortable asking in person, you can find me afterwards, or you can go old school, write it on a note, and then just pass it around the room, and it'll end up somewhere over here, and we'll go for it. All right, so the very first thing that I want to do is create our very own safe space here. It's important to remember that learning is where we are, not where we want to be. It's okay for us not to know things today. And that's part of what the whole process of learning and growing looks like. It can be uncomfortable, but that's the fact. A lot of us here today know some, and some of us know a lot, but all of us have something to give, to teach, to learn. And that's part of that safety that we're creating and that equal environment today. Oh my gosh, okay. And a lot of today is subjective and relative. I always think about, particularly with this, the colors of the rainbow. We know red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple, but there are those really cool like teals and violets and sunburst orange all throughout there. So without those nuances and small details, none of our lives would be as beautiful as they are. So if you hear me say something that's different from your own experience, that's just because it's my particular tone. And also anything goes and everything stays. I say this a lot in like middle schools and high schools when I go there, because a lot of times the kids will want to run out and make fun of each other after class or start rumors after class. So I decided, you know what, sometimes we as adults, you know, we're children too. And it's always a good reminder that anything goes here. This is a safe space. You're welcome to ask, to talk, to share. But what happens when we leave here is that we take the lessons, but we don't take necessarily like the giggles or the, can you believe she didn't know that? That's not how we do it. So anything goes, everything stays. So welcome now to your very first, or first for the day, diverse, inclusive, accepting, welcoming, safe space. I hope you're just wiping mascara, because if you're crying already. I only call you out because I sat there and someone actually texted me and said, are you okay? Like, it's just dried mascara, okay? All right, so why is it me here today? Probably because in this moment right now, I realize I put in my talking points, not the pictures I wanted to show you. So we're gonna next time not do these slides late at night. Oh girl, did I do that? Oh, I was about to say it was on your Facebook or something. All right. So no pictures here, but I'll just let you read through that real quick because we're not really here to talk about me. I just wanted to kind of establish with you a little bit of credibility, to be honest with you, because I know a few of you, but most of you I don't. So why is it me here today? Because as you heard, for over 10 years, I've worked in public health, and all of that has covered a career in HIV prevention, dealing with LGBTQ specific health. In addition to that, I do curate inclusive events here in town. We have 2 or 3 every single month, and that's something I'm really proud of. Over the last year and the first year that we had it, over 1,100 attendees came to over 2 dozen events, which is really exciting for our community here. Yeah. Now that one will make me cry, and if you don't believe me, just come to our Friendsgiving that we have every year, and I'm a bawling mess. I also will travel around the country hosting pride events and fundraisers for our community. And I myself have traveled as a male entertainer in the LGBTQ community and a drag queen at one point in time. If you don't know what that is, we'll have a lot of fun at the end of the month. And then also my personal identity. If you couldn't already put the puzzle pieces together, I do identify within the LGBTQ+ community as a pretty much gay male. So that's enough about me. Let's look at some stats. Now, these numbers I always include because it's really important for me as a psychology major from the University of Virginia to include some sort of research in everything that I talk about. That's the one thing that I learned. No, I'm kidding. Okay, the truth is I had to take statistics 3 times before I graduated. That's why it's in my brain. All right, so one question for you. How many Americans do you think identify within the queer community, percentage-wise? Somebody can throw out an answer. Somebody said 10. What do you say? 12, 3, 5, 18, 30. We don't, never mind. I'm gonna save the jokes until the end of the month. All right, so the very first time, actually, that's really encouraging to me that we feel like the numbers are at 30%. Some of you are getting really close. But the truth of the matter is that in 2012, when one of the first official studies came out, we were at about 3.5%. So that was a little over 10 years ago. By the time that we came to 2017, that had increased to about 4.5%. And by 2021, when we had that last like official study, we're at 7.1%. Now, if you look at that trajectory and you look at some of the smaller studies that have happened, it is looking at about that 10 to 12% right now of how many of us identify as LGBTQ+. Why is that important to note? Because only about 2 to 6% of Americans are redheads. And I see some of you are looking around the room right now to count up your redheaded friends. So statistically speaking, if you see a redhead in the room, you may know someone who is also identifying as LGBTQ+ in the room. If you have somebody that you love, somebody that is buying a home, and you notice they've got red hair, chances are that you've got someone in your family, your friend group, or a potential home buyer who identifies as LGBTQ+. So it is really important to have this knowledge and information to apply across the board. Now, don't make any assumptions when you see a redheaded walking out of the room, okay? I don't think there's a correlation between redheads and being LGBTQ+. So, but we always ask, why does this matter? And this might be a little bit hard to, not the blue stuff, but the words underneath may be a little bit hard to read, so I will read that to you. They do have me on a leash. All right. So I always like to start with some of our stats that relate to our LGBTQ youth. In high school, students who identify as lesbian, gay, or bisexual are more than 4 times as likely to have attempted suicide compared to their heterosexual peers. That moves on into adulthood when we are talking that 40% of transgender adults have attempted suicide in their lifetime compared to less than 5% of the general population. Those are just 2 of the stats related to mental health that are really important to me. But I know that we're not here to necessarily talk about mental health as much as we are to talk about home buying. So you're on the hook because I've got stats about that too. We have got here, LGBTQ youth and young adults have 120% higher risk of experiencing homelessness. I put that one in there because I am that statistic. 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, I was homeless here in Charlottesville. I was living in my truck and I was studying at university at the time, but I was living in the libraries too. So I made really good use of the gym showers and of the bathrooms. And so this right here is more than a statistic. It's the guy that's standing in front of you today. Now, get you back up, don't worry. That's because this isn't just mascara that's drying that you see in my eyeballs. Only about 11% of my community reports that they prefer to rent versus to buy. So that highlights that strong desire for about 89% of the LGBTQ+ community to become homeowners, home buyers. I too am part of that 89%. So here, working that in there, exactly 10 years after I was homeless, I became a home owner right here in Charlottesville. So sorry. So I had always had that dream, and I was stoked, elated, shocked that I got to become an owner and also the president of my HOA now. So just throwing that out. And that brings us into our last step before we go over some other things about the community at large. 46% of LGBTQ buyers fear some sort of discrimination in their home buying process. I too fall into this statistic, and I specifically sought out someone that I knew had known me long enough that she would have no questions about who I was or what I enjoyed to do in my off time. And for you all, that may be why someone's asking for an extra bedroom, or why someone wants to be located in a certain area where they have more space, or they have this amenity close by. So it's really important to remember that about half of us in our community, we're worried when we go to buy a home. So giving us the opportunity to just be ourselves, super important, not only for us as the buyer, but you as the seller too. This isn't a marketing class though. I'll come back and do that another day. All right, so learning the letters. Somebody already this morning said, I'm sorry, I forgot half of the letters when I was talking to you. And I said, that's okay, I forget half of the letters sometimes too. But you'll see that there are a couple of different ways to kind of notate this. So up here, we have LGBTQ+. I use that term quite a bit when I'm talking about the community at large. On your agenda, you'll see LGBTQIA2SAA, I think is what's on there. I get to keep the gay card. All right. So there are a lot of letters, but we don't always know what they stand for. And quite honestly, whether you're in the community or not, sometimes it can be hard to remember. It can be hard to differentiate. And remember, learning is where we are, not where we want to be. So in that moment, if we're forgetting what letters mean, it's okay, we're learning. And so today I wanted to go over these main letters that you'll see more often than anything else. And then in March, we'll go more in depth to some of the others that you may have heard. Wrong way. All right, so first is L, lesbian. These I'm going to give you like the most basic foundation, and then again in March we can talk in depth about them. Lesbian is for a female, woman, or a woman identifying person who has that attraction to the same. That I believe feels okay. Now I'm saying I believe feels okay because I am not a lesbian. So, like I said earlier, some of these are subjective and detailed depending on the nuances of our lives. So I will say at any point, if someone does identify as something and you want to share as we go along, please tell us how it feels like for you. But that's basically what lesbian would be defined as. Now, there we go. Sorry. Gay, typically used for a man, male, or man identifying person who's attracted to the same. That's me most of the time. There's my pitch again, come back in March. But gay is also, for a lot of folks, kind of a term that's used as the umbrella for anybody who identifies as something other than what has been traditional or what has been expected. So for myself, I tend to use queer as that term, which we'll talk about too later in the month. But for this, a lot of people will say, she's gay, they're gay, he's gay. It's almost like a gender neutral term for a lot of people. Bisexual is typically used to identify a man, male, man identifying person, or a woman, woman identifying or female person who's attracted to either a man, man identifying person, or a woman, woman identifying person. A lot of you may have heard the term demisexual, pansexual, omnisexual. All of those are terms that are kind of offshoots of this because they allow us to love the spectrum of people, not a label. And that's a whole lot of words, again, to tell you, come back in March. This word has been in the news quite a bit lately, so I would assume that a lot of us have at least heard it, but a lot of us may not necessarily know what it means. So a transgender person is somebody who was born assigned, say, either male or female at birth based on body parts. And then as they develop as a human being, they realize that the outside and the inside, they don't match. So you may have heard of a trans man or a trans woman. Trans woman is somebody who was born assigned male at birth. And as they developed, they said, no, that's not quite right. The inside doesn't match the outside. So that is a person who identifies and or lives as a woman. Trans man is someone who was identified female at birth based on body parts. And as they grew up said, nope, doesn't fit. And now they identify or live as a man. Transgender in a nutshell. The Q is debatable because some people will call it queer and some people will call it questioning. I say that's for anybody. So whether you know your identity or whether you're figuring it out, this is where you're welcome. That Q represents people who are just different or figuring out how different they might be. And then, of course, that lovely plus sign. There we go. Okay. So the plus sign is the so much more of the LGBTQ plus community. This is a lot of terms that you may have heard that you may not see on the board today. And again, things that we'll talk about in March. But it's important to remember that these are only letters. They are not the human beings behind them. These are kind of like what makes it easy for us to label people and put people in boxes, to categorize ourselves. But they do not represent the nuances, the details, and the beautiful humanness of who is behind that and the human being that's adopting that letter. All of us, doesn't matter if we identify with one of these letters or not, we all have a certain beauty in our lives that comes from the detail, from the nuance, from those things that are unique to us. And I think that's something we can all get behind, is that whether you have one of these letters or multiple of these letters with you, we all know that we have a certain uniqueness about us that makes it really special when we go out and tell our story and live our lives. So those are the letters. I'm going to give you a couple of action points. I'm only giving you 3 today, and you can pick one. That's it, really easy. But these are some of my 3 that we can do to help create a safer, warmer space when we leave here and go into our next showing, go into the next bar, go into the next restaurant, or even go into our very own living rooms. So the very first one is use your sticker, your poster, or your flag. I always say that my eyes, as someone in the LGBTQ community, we are trained to look for the rainbows. We are trained to look for the trans pride flags. We are trained to look for the certain colors that tell us we're okay. I know that I have seen it today on a couple of lapels, on a couple of water bottles, and on a couple of vehicles out in the parking lot. One of the other things that I do, this is my badge for my day job. This is what it looks like on the front, but when you flip it over, she's got some miles on her, but there is a little tiny 1 inch by a 1/4 inch rainbow sticker right there. And that right there is a way for me to have this badge on, and when someone starts to waffle around using certain pronouns, or when they're like not coming out exactly about who their partner might be, and it's something that impacts their health, I work in healthcare, I could just go, oh yeah, I got that. This is like Superman, right? We always wondered, like, he just takes his glasses off. Why does it make a difference? I just turned my name badge over and it makes a difference. If you don't want to mark that stuff up, you can do something as easy as wear a bracelet, put a lanyard on, or carry around that water bottle with a sticker on it. We've also got an easy way. Update your email signatures or update your business cards next time you order them, and throw your pronouns in there. You saw at the beginning, I have Jason Elliott, he, him, his. And if you go to your email signature today, all you have to do is type 6, 7, 8, 9 letters, put that in your email signature, and every person that gets an email from you, every person that gets that constant contact blast that you send out every month, they will see something greater than just what your pronouns are. They will see that you are aware, that you care. You may not know everything, but you're at least aware. And that's really important for us. So I would suggest sending a bigger message by adding some pronouns. And lastly, of course, I promise this is the next to the last plug of this. Come to a safe space training. We've got one here on the 29th, but there are organizations across the country and across the world who are giving free tutorials online on how to be a better person. There are even organizations that are doing this specifically for your line of work. So I would encourage you to find something that gets you excited, sign up, and get yourself some safe space training. All right. Look, I told you I'd beat that 10-minute time clock. Whew. All right. So great. But what I really want to ask is, ta-da, this is where you get to ask questions. I am so glad that I have already seen one person scanning the QR code. That makes me really happy. That's just going to take you mostly to my personal social media, but you've got my phone number underneath of there. Please use it. That's what it's there for. If you have questions or you don't feel comfortable asking anything today, shoot me a text, give me a call. No problem at all. We can also get you in touch via email, or I'll see you on the 29th. And if you scan that QR code, you'll have all my personal social media and also a link to sign up for LGBTQ outings in the area, if that's something to you. Now, questions. I don't have any plants in the audience, but I got plenty of time and I'm an open book. Okay, I did have one plant in the audience, and if they don't, it wasn't you, it wasn't you, it wasn't you.
So Jason, it's not tall enough for me. I don't even think.
Hey, I know how you feel, trust me.
There's a lot in the news right now about certain states wanting to outlaw drag shows.
Mhm.
Whether we're straight or in the LGBTQ plus community, how can we get behind and say, hey, this is ridiculous? Because the thing is, if this goes down the pike, it's going to do so many other things. Hence a woman that now has no choice.
Mm.
Not that I do anyway, I'm 61, so that doesn't affect me. But how can we get behind and really support the community and say, this is crazy? I mean, if you go to one of these places that have the shows, for the most part, you have to be over 21. So you're not going to have children there.
Sure. Yeah, so I think, again, this is one of the nuances of the community. I will step out of my trainer role and talk to you as an entertainer role. I'm happy to do that because, again, that's why I told you at the beginning I do that too. So one of the things that I've tried to do is remove the "it doesn't affect me" phrase from my life, because it does. I may not necessarily get to apply something to me, but my sister does, or my best friend does. And so when they get heartbroken, when they get angry, when they end up homeless because they can't make a living as an entertainer, it's going to be me they call. And it's going to be my couch that they're on. And I love my friends, but everybody's got an expiration date of how long I want you in my house. And so when we talk about things like purchasing our own home, we know how much money we have to put down on a home. If someone makes a living as an entertainer, they're not going to be able to be your next home buyer. So I always think about not just how it impacts that person, but how it impacts the economy, how it impacts society, how it impacts our mental health. I think one of the easiest things that we can do, obviously, is go to drag shows. Really important. And if we do get to the point where here in Virginia we can't do that, I think it's really important that we find other ways to support causes who are supporting our entertainers who can't necessarily make a living anymore. But I prided myself when I was not full-time drag queen, but working more. I had a lot of shows where I specifically did it family friendly, because I also want that child who's questioning themselves to be able to say, oh my gosh, that man is in 7-inch heels. I wonder what it's like to wear that, because I've been afraid, but now I see my mom is dancing with that drag queen. I think I can tell her. And that goes back to the statistic of how many of our youth are we going to lose to suicide, and how many of us are going to have to deal with not knowing that somebody cares. I could talk more on that later. Or I'll keep going if nobody asks another question. Good grief. I know y'all talk all day long. Adrian, yeah. You can, if you talk, I'll repeat the question for you. Sure. Yeah, on March 29th, there's going to be a class. Oh, yes, I certainly can. Thank you. So the question was, how can parents advocate for their children and better educate themselves on being that advocate in the classroom, in everyday life, and at home? And I think, honestly, I said that jokingly, but the more wealth of knowledge that we have, and full disclosure, I don't have kids yet, but that is in the plan, so I've thought about this. The more that we know about a topic, the more that we put ourselves in that position to learn, the more our environment around us naturally becomes full of that wealth of knowledge. It's like having fertile soil. You may not always plant every seed, but when you got good soil, things are going to grow there. And so when we expand our knowledge and when we create an environment around us that's fertile for acceptance, for love, for growth, it's going to naturally trickle down. We see the same thing with mental health. When we have parents and grandparents who are dealing with mental health disorders and mental health issues, that is inherited by the next generation. So in my mind, if we can flip that over, then they will also inherit the good. So I would say that.
You have a comment here on chat.
Great.
Says, just want to say thank you for what you're doing. I personally wish there were no labels for anyone. I've always felt that each and every person are simply people, which is still a label, but is all encompassing rather than exclusive, segregating uniqueness of all of us.
Absolutely so. I think that is a great comment, and thank you to whoever shared that on Zoom. Really appreciate it. And I think when we get down to, to the heart of it, that's what we're doing. We're educating. So then that way, a lot of times when we're talking about, like you were mentioning with me earlier, Adrian, some of the programming, and a lot of times when we sit in a class like this, we think, they're going to teach us how to identify the rainbow and how to turn that into a sail and all of this. Okay, don't lie. Y'all have already thought about that. You're like, I'm gonna get myself a rainbow sticker and make another commission. But the more important thing is that things like this, it's not here to indoctrinate. It's not here to convert you. My gay agenda is not to turn any of you into anyone like me. Lord knows there should only be one of me in this world. But what it is just to help us be aware that there are people that are different than us. And sometimes we can look at somebody and see, physically, you look a little different than I do. But it goes deeper than that, because what you can't see is the inside of people. What you can't see is the trauma. What you can't see is the history. What you can't see is the potential. And so I think classes like this and comments like that remind us that it's not necessarily about each individual color of the rainbow, but it's about those really pretty shades in between and how they make our world much more beautiful. Think we've got time for one or two more? Yeah.
So I have a client who moved out of this area and became very isolated and depressed because they look a certain way and they're not part of the LGBTQ and they don't look anything like someone in that community. So they were actually reverse picked on, harassed. They stopped going out and doing the things they wanted to do, and they moved out of the area because of this. So how can someone help someone who is not in the community and getting kind of reversed harassed? I mean, where is some understanding, compassion? I know personally this individual was very kind and tried to make a connection and like, hey, think we got off on the wrong foot. This is my name. Who are you? And it just became a very uncomfortable situation. So how can we as realtors also help our clients and our family and our friends, ourselves, if we are put in a situation like that? In your opinion in healthcare, not just in March, but
Right.
That's a question that I have come across in my career.
Yeah, I think that's a really important question, and one that actually came up when I was talking to somebody about doing this session today, and they were like, oh great, so now I'm going to feel targeted by every agent that I work with because they want to make a sale because I'm queer. And I said, well, no, because the point of this and the point of conversations like this, it's not to create an environment where you're like, hey, I see who you are. Let me make all these assumptions and give you all these resources and give you all this information and call you certain names or treat you a certain way or only invite you to certain things happening in the community. What we're talking about here goes well beyond what we do as professionals. What we're talking about here is creating that society at large where we see a person and we say, I just want to have an environment that is safe for you and welcoming for you. I try really hard not to make any assumptions when I meet somebody, and that can be really difficult because we do have stereotypes. And a lot of times someone will look and say, well, she's got a haircut that looks like this and wears a flannel shirt, a lesbian. Wrong. I'm not pointing at anybody, but I saw somebody say, And it's true, we do that. That's human nature. It's part of that categorizing. Where we need to remember or where we need to get to as we're learning to get where we want to be, not where we are, is that people are going to dress a certain way, people are going to sound a certain way, people are going to enjoy certain things in their hobbies. That's one facet of who they are. And so we as human beings, I always like to relate it to a diamond. The more facets that a diamond has, the brighter it's going to shine. With human beings, the more facets we have, the more things that we have that reflect off a little bit of light, the brighter we're going to be. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't have as many facets because we forget that one of those is just being welcoming of everybody. I wish I could give you like a concrete action step. It's really hard. I would just say, don't judge people. And if that person wants like queer friends who are not trying to recruit them, we got that too, you know, but it is really difficult. And it's important to remember that we as a community can also put out what we've been receiving for so long, because at the end of the day, we are human beings. But it's a good reminder that all of us can do a little bit harder on being a little loving and more welcoming. And I am sorry that they went through that. And legitimately, if they need somebody to talk to about it, get them in touch. One more quick question. Or not. Yes. Oh, thank goodness. Mascara lady. You can do both. What kind of parties are we talking about? I will say the short answer to that is yes. So my female impersonation or drag queen days are behind me for the most part, but I do still entertain kind of along this line, and I do still put on shows and fundraisers and bring other drag queens in from places like Richmond, DC, even in Charlottesville. So if you're looking for a good time, I think I know somebody. All right, thank you all so much. Like I said, if you have any questions at all, I'll hang around here a little bit afterwards today. They put me in the front, that way you would know if I left early. But I'll be hanging out here. And then if you do have questions later on, this is just the end of our time together today, but I'll certainly see you in March, and I will certainly be available any other way. I would be happy to. March 29th, 10 to 11:30, right here, or right there in Zoom. And if you do have a paper agenda in front of you, just flip it over and you'll see a bright, colorful picture on the back. And I won't wear the same blazer there. Thank you all.
Wow, thank you, Jason. Let's give Jason another round of applause. He was phenomenal. Great job, Jason. Thank you so much for that. We love your humor. And when are we going to see Jason again? Yes, we are definitely going to show up for Jason. And guess what? You register, it's at no cost to you, and it's right here at the Hillsdale Conference Center. We already know the time and the day because Jason has made sure that he's drilled that in our heads. And doing the same thing, Jason is just going to elaborate more on what he talked about today. And believe me, do you think that he's going to hold anything back in that environment? Absolutely not. So any questions you weren't able to answer today, he will follow up with you and show up on that day. Somebody else is having a good time in the back over there. All right, by raising your hands, how many people knew Pat Jensen? Look, almost half of this room. She was a phenomenal lady. And I had the privilege of knowing her, getting to know her towards the end of her life, and it was phenomenal. If you didn't have the chance to know her, she was a phenomenal lady. She was a past president of CAR, tremendous realtor, a broker, leader, and realtor political action committee advocate. And as a tribute to her legacy, the CAR 2017 Board of Directors established the Pat Jensen Leadership Academy. And I can proudly say that I am a graduate of that academy. The academy is intended to foster knowledge and encourage further movement into other areas of the leadership roles, organizations on the local, state, and national level. This is where you can get your start. At this time, I would like to invite the academy co-facilitators, as she gets ready up here in this yellow jacket, Rachel Burns and past president Anthony McGee, to the stage, and they're going to do the graduation. I'll hand it over to you.
Good morning. Thank you, S. Lisa. The inaugural Pat Jensen Leadership Academy class, which included 13 members, graduated in January of 2018. We are thrilled to see so many of you today in the audience. And we are also thrilled that the graduates have utilized what they've learned from the academy and apply it to their leadership roles here at CAR as well as in the community.
Through conversations with past graduates, we've proven the value of this program and its ability to impact our leaders in the association and the community in which they serve. Rachel and I were thrilled to collaborate and offer support and guidance to the 2023 Pat Jensen Leadership Academy. These 10 members of the second class have participated in 8-day-long sessions throughout the past year to develop their leadership skills.
As part of these sessions, participants learned from outstanding local, state, and national speakers and peers from various realtor organizations and the community at large. They also had the opportunity to visit the Virginia Realtors team at their headquarters in Richmond. The variety of sessions included organizational structure of realtor associations, meeting management and parliamentary procedures, communication and negotiation, membership and market demographics, tech trends, local government and involvement, and the NAR Leadership Development course entitled Learn, Elevate, Accelerate, Deliver, or LEAD.
At this time, I would like to recognize the 2023 class of the Pat Jensen Leadership Academy. As their names are called in alphabetical order, I would ask that each graduate come to the stage using the entrance on my right, at your left. Collect your accolade on stage and hold for an individual picture with President S. Lisa Herndon. Please depart the stage from my left, your right. From there, you may return to your seat. A group picture will be taken after this morning's meeting. Please hold your applause until each honoree has received their accolades.
All right, would the following members please step forward? Roxanne Carter Johnston. Woody Fincham. Woody Fincham. Aaron Howell. Brittany Kozik. Miss Caitlin Mancini. I said it right.
Janice O'Hara. Paul Olson. Amanda Spagoni. Candace Vanderlinde. And Josh White. Congratulations. Congratulations.
All right, well, everyone, please join me in giving the group one more round of applause for the 2023 Pat Jensen Leadership Academy.
Okay. Okay, we're done with that. Thank you. Now, as a surprise, Rachel and Anthony, we do have a little parting gift for you. Thank you both for your work and commitment to the Pat Jensen Leadership Academy. Thank you again, and again, congratulations to the 2023 Pat Jensen Leadership Academy graduates. Previous Pat Jensen Leadership Academy graduates and co-facilitators may also, at the end, you're going to receive your pins and stay after. We're going to take some pictures, okay? So at this time, we will now pay tribute to the hard-working group of realtors who are going to be dedicated and into the, who show the dedication to the real estate profession and leaders in their community through their Professional Honor Society. So we're going to move on to the Professional Honor Society dedication. So in 2022 marks 27th consecutive year of CAR Honor Society for 6 CAR members. Whew, that's a long time. It's also the first for 7 members. So we have 7 new members. So here are the announcements. The 2022 inductees into the CAR Professional Honor Society. To do this is the past president, Pat Surrey, who's sitting here at the table as if I'm not going to call her name. You ready, Pat? She's like sitting here very casually. It's your turn, Pat. I hand the meeting over.
Thank you, Lisa. Got to see where she has me here. First of all, I want to say congratulations to the graduates of the Pat Jensen Leadership Academy. When I started my career in 1998, Pat Jensen was my mentor and a good friend. So that meant a lot. So good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, celebrate this special occasion. Whether you're new to the real estate profession or have been around for years, the Professional Honor Society has been a great accolade to achieve every year. The CAR Honor Society began in 1996. I think Lisa mentioned that. Today, we're going to recognize 56 individuals for their standards of excellence in 2022. What does it take to be part of the Professional Honor Society? First of all, it takes attendance at valuable association meetings, events such as this general membership meeting that you're attending today. It takes participation in other real estate educational activities, such as classes, designations, certifications, and leadership academies. It takes volunteering at local, state, and national, on a local, state, national committee, or a community activity. And success in either your production of sales or your ability to serve as a managing broker. So when you put all this criteria together, the outcome is a well-rounded professional committed to raising the bar for the industry and serving as a role model for the community. So we're going to do things a little different this time. To be respectful of time, honorees will be shown on the screen, see it on the screen, and then I will read the names of the members who have achieved a 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25-year milestone. So this is a little different. We're not going to all come up here on the stage this time. We're going to celebrate on the screen this time. So while you review a list of honorees for each class, I will also be sprinkling in fun facts about the Professional Honor Society. So let's go ahead and get started. The first group has earned the Professional Honor Society designation between 1 and 4 years. So did you know the total amount of points a member must obtain for the Professional Honor Society is 75? So that may sound a little intimidating, but I assure you, it's amazing how quickly you can get to that number by doing what you're already doing. So let's next congratulate the following members who have reached the 5-year milestone. So if you're here with us this morning, please stand as I call your name. Aaron Garcia. Barbara Kelly. Brittany Kozik. And Caitlin Mancini. Congratulations. Okay, our next group of esteemed honorees has been in the program for 6 to 9 years. Are they up there? There they are. Did you know the Professional Honor Society evolved from an award called Top Producers? I remember that award very well. It was all based on production. It was, you know, everything was based on production, and a lot of associations still just use those criteria. That's why I'm proud here that we have the Honor Society. So while production is essential to maintain a career, it shouldn't be the only area to focus on. Therefore, association involvement, professional development, and volunteer and leadership were added to the criteria. So let's give a welcome. Very welcome. Like these great agents who've achieved this for 6 to 9 years. The next 2 members have been in the program for 10 years. If you're here with us this morning, please stand as I call your name. Debbie Cash. And Keely Jennifer. Next, I'd like to recognize members who have achieved 11 to 14 years. Okay. Does anyone know the last time we had this event in person? No, it says March 2020. It says on here, but I don't. March 2020, does that date sound familiar? Yeah. Right before. Let's give a round of applause for our 11 to 14. Our next honorees have reached a 15-year milestone in this prestigious program. If you're here this morning, please stand as I call your name. Congratulations to Kelly Seppa. I know she's here. And Sasha Tripp. I am privileged to recognize the following members who have achieved 16 to 19 years of commitment to the professional excellence. Okay, let's give a round of applause. Our next honoree reached a 20-year milestone in this prestigious program. If you're here with us this morning, please stand as I call your name. Congratulations, Jim Dickerson. There he is. Next, the following honorees have achieved 21 to 24 years of professional excellence. Did you know that the largest class of Professional Honor Society honorees was in 2005 with 78 members? So we have our sights set on achieving many great accomplishments in 2023. Let's make this one of those accomplishments and submit a record that surpasses the 78 Professional Honor Society members. I'm sure anyone listed on the screen for Professional Honor Society would be willing to help you prepare to achieve this great accolade. Our next honoree has achieved a 25-year milestone in this prestigious program. If you're here with us this morning, please stand as I call your name. Congratulations, Reeves Bailey. And our final group has been in the Professional Honor Society for 26 to 27 years. What an amazing commitment to your community and the industry. Keep up the amazing work that you're doing. So congratulations to all 2022 Professional Honor Society honorees recognized today. Thank you again for committing to your profession and serving as a great role model for fellow members and the community. Honorees, please stay after the program to collect your certificate and your milestone year pin, if applicable, and which are located to the table to the right of the stage. Over there. We will also take a class picture, which hasn't been done since 2019. It's going to be outside, I hear. So Lisa, I'll turn the program back over to you.
On the spot. Thank you, Pat. And I encourage each realtor in today's meeting to strive for the Professional Honor Society. It is a great personal and professional goal to achieve each year. Thank you, everyone. Now on to our annual awards presentation. CAR has well-respected program to honor members who contribute to the local industry in ways that enhance professional practice and boost the reputation for all. Our first award is for the 2022 Affiliate of the Year. This award recognizes one of our affiliate members who goes to the extra step to help further the goals and objectives of the association, CAR members, their clients, and the community at large. Before we announce the recipient, please watch and hear what some members had to say about the 2022 Affiliate of the Year.
The recipient has been so incredibly supportive of the Women's Council of Realtors and was instrumental in the growth and success that we saw in 2022. She volunteered so much of her time as a board member, recruiting new members, planning events, and securing sponsorships, including sponsoring many of our events throughout the year that we were very grateful for.
They've given back by being on several project teams. They've been a member of communications, professional development, as well as public affairs groups. And they've also attended and been a member of YPN.
She is always the first one to volunteer for any task and ready to roll up her sleeves to get things done, quite literally. She is one of the most dedicated and driven colleagues I have ever had the pleasure of working with.
This recipient has been a supporter of CAR for many years. By sponsoring YPN events as well as other events, attending general membership meetings, and overall, the recipient is just a delightful person that everyone enjoys being around.
Tiffany, congratulations. I cannot think of a more deserving recipient of this award. Thank you for all you have done for CAR, for Women's Council of Realtors, and for the whole Charlottesville community. We are so grateful for you, and thank you for inspiring all of us.
Tiffany Jenkins, we are so excited that you've been selected as the 2022 recipient of the Affiliate of the Year Award for the Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors. Thank you so much for your immeasurable contributions to our organization.
Wow. Congratulations to the 2022 Affiliate of the Year, Tiffany Jenkins. Tiffany, would you please join me to the stage for your award? Come on, Tiffany. And do your Oscar. So there's a little piece of tape. Okay. Our second award is the Rising Star of the Year. The recipient of the Rising Star of the Year is not only someone who has held an active salesperson license for 18 consecutive months or less, but a member who has adapted well to the balancing of sales volumes, education with car events and community involvement. Before we announce the recipient, please watch the screen. We're going to show a short video about the Rising Star 2022 of the year.
The honoree is well known in the community, having lived and worked here for numerous years. They have great connection to local businesses and use those connections as resources for their clients and agents.
She has worked pretty nonstop to learn as much as she can about our profession, not just the transaction side of it, but also about our community and engaging to help both her clients and her colleagues at Nest.
The honoree truly cares about the client and helping them navigate the home buying process.
She has always tried to make herself available to learn. And so whether that is taking classes here at CAR or volunteering to shadow veteran agents on home inspections or septic inspections, showings, really anything she can to learn more about this industry and the work that she's doing so she can provide a high level of service to her clients.
Melissa, congratulations on being named Rising Star of the Year. It's been such a pleasure watching you grow your business.
Melissa, congratulations. You are the 2022 Rising Star for CAR. I'm so grateful for your friendship and everything that you have done for me, for your Nest colleagues, and most importantly, for your clients.
Congratulations to the 2022 Rising Star. He was genuinely surprised. We held that together very well. All righty, on to the next. Salesperson of the Year. Being a realtor who is a top sales producer and an active in our association and community is a challenge in many ways, right? Trying to do it all, try to balance it all. The CAR Salesperson of the Year also continues to improve his or her skills by engaging in the community and educational courses and achieving professional designations. Okay, before we announce it, we're going to watch a video again.
The recipient has served CAR and given back to CAR since she began her career in 2010, her career in real estate. But her really distinguishing contribution is she was a founding member and current chairman of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council.
The recipient is a brilliant individual, highly productive, creative, extremely loyal, and they are an inspiration to me and my colleagues.
She closed, I think, 21 million in sales, which is huge, but she did that all with a huge commitment to CAR, but also to the Charlottesville community at large.
They've been the top producer for many years, and last year alone, they helped over 40 clients and sold over 22 million, which is, they are a machine.
She is particularly drawn to charities that go to support populations that are at risk or undeveloped or underdeveloped. Piedmont Housing Alliance, Building Goodness Foundation, UVA Children's Hospital, the list goes on, and she is active with all of these worthy causes.
Shannon, You're one of the most wonderful, creative, and loyal friends I've known. You actually said that your clients say they could trust their life with you. Me too. I have. And when I want my 16-year-old daughter to do something, I just say, Shannon said it's cool. It always worked. So keep on shining bright. I'm really proud of you.
Hi, Shannon Thomas. I am so excited for you to be the recipient of the Sales Associate of the Year. It has been a long time coming, and I can't think of a more deserving real estate professional. Enjoy. Congratulations. We're lucky to have you at Loring Woodruff.
Congratulations to the Sales Associate of the Year. I didn't realize her husband was here too. Wow. Great job. Thanks again, Shannon, for your hard work. Our next award is Realtors Ethics in Action. This award recognizes a realtor who is sought out by realtors who seek advice and counsel on questions concerning the code of ethics and professional standards. And again, before we announce the winner, we're going to watch a short video, okay?
This year's recipient has been involved for so many years within the association, both local and state, that her knowledge and her experience just flows out with the way she treats clients, the way she treats all of the agents that she works with. And you know that in every engagement, there's nothing but truthfulness, nothing but integrity for the profession and for the general well-being of our clients.
First impressions are lasting impressions. And when I first met this person, they were starting their real estate career, and they actually called me to see about going into real estate. And I was very impressed with how thoughtful and reflective they were. And what I've noticed over the years, it doesn't matter what the topic is, whether it's a crisis or a planning activity, this person is always very reflective, listens more than they talk, and waits to either give an opinion or take an action.
For decades now, this year's recipient has been involved at the Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors, as well as Virginia Realtors and NAR. Her involvement a few years ago included working on the national celebration of the Fair Housing Act, and I know that everyone in our association has recognized her leadership through board membership, through committee membership, and just ongoing enthusiasm for the area.
Realtors in this community, whether they are in this person's firm or not, will often seek their advice because they give very good counsel on sometimes very difficult situations.
This year's recipient for the Carr Realtor Ethics in Action Award goes to Arlene Yobbs. Congratulations, Arlene, and thanks so much for making all of us look better.
I would like to thank and congratulate
Come on up, Arlene.
Yobbs for choosing real estate as her career.
Congratulations, Arlene.
And
Come on
for
up.
having such high standards in her personal life and in her professional life. And that has influenced all those who work with her and have come to know her. Congratulations, Arlene. I'm glad you chose real estate.
Well deserved. Thank you, Arlene. Thank you so much. She was thoroughly surprised. Next, we will announce the Realtor of the Year. This accolade is given to the realtor that exhibits faithfulness to the principles of the organized real estate and organization of real estate and to the rules of regulations of CAR and NAR's Code of Ethics. Additionally, the nominees should exhibit efforts to encourage good real estate practices and principles and imagine, among other things, establish professional and public as they're seen in public and in their profession. So before we announce this award, what are we gonna do? We're gonna watch a little video.
It is with great personal pleasure to be asked to introduce CAR's 2022 Realtor of the Year. I met this recipient 15 years ago, and we have been friends, colleagues, and in leadership ever since.
I've personally known the recipient since 2010, when the Women's Council of Realtors Blue Ridge was founded. The recipient then went on to be president in 2011.
The recipient helped implement the fundraising idea of Bras for a Cause. Some of you may even remember and even participated. This multi-year event raised enough funds to support our network's leadership attend annual and state meetings, plus donating to the UVA Cancer Center.
The recipient was involved in CAR in 2022 as a very active member of the board and continues to do so. The recipient has been a RPAC major investor for many years and is a very generous contributor.
I have watched the recipient's real estate career grow during these last 15 years by perseverance, hard work, and creating a niche market to enhance the honoree's business.
The honoree is a great realtor who is extremely professional and takes wonderful care of their clients, and also takes the time to be involved with every aspect of CAR. The recipient is also a graduate of the Pat Jensen Leadership Academy.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's congratulate CAR's 2022 Realtor of the Year, Pam Dent.
I'd like to congratulate my friend and colleague, Pam Dent, as the 2022 CAR Realtor of the Year.
Come on up, Pam. Oops, got it. Thank you, Pam, for all your service. All righty, now we're on to the next one. The CAR Good Neighbor Award. Y'all ready? This table in the front, behave. Members for significant time and interest or his or her dedication to the local nonprofits and charitable organizations. The award includes recognition to a general membership meeting, a press release, and $1,000 donated not to them, but recognizing their charities, okay? Before we announce the recipient, what are you gonna have to do? It's real quick.
The name
sound
of the charity is Orange County Children's Toy Box. The mission of the organization is to provide children in need each Christmas with gifts, including toys and clothing.
She started off as just a volunteer when her children were young and doing what she could as time allowed. And now she is my current vice president.
She helps with fundraising, paperwork, shopping, packing, and delivering of gifts to children each year. She's always active in recruiting new volunteers to help. She easily contributes over 400 hours of her own personal time each year.
She does it all, along with me as well. She is responsible for fundraising. She does the shopping for the families, the delivering for the families. She helps organize for the volunteers, because we have hundreds of volunteers that help because of how many children we serve. It's quite the operation.
If I had to estimate how many people have been impacted by the recipient's involvement with this organization, I would say it's thousands easily. That includes the families that she delivers gifts to each year, but also the families that she's involved in recruiting each year to help serve the community with this organization.
Dana, I couldn't ask for a better vice president, and you deserve this award so much. Your generosity to the community of Orange and the volunteer time that your family also puts into it. I'm tickled pink. Way to go.
Congratulations, Dana. I'm so proud to have you as my friend and also as my colleague. Our community is so blessed to have you in this organization, and it is such a well-deserved award to you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Dana. Is Dana in the audience? We get another round of applause for everyone. Congratulations again to all of our annual award winners and recipients today. And winners, please remember to stay after the program. We're going to get some pictures taken, and you're going to get your, some people will get a pin. As we start to wrap up, whoo, this has been a long meeting, hasn't it? We have done a lot. We've covered a lot. Feels like a lecture class, but it's been good. It's been good. Okay. I encourage you all to review the flyers of our sponsors and any handouts. There's dozens of educational classes and professional developments and DEI classes. And of course, we're going to remember Jason's class when. And it's free, so remember to register. So speaking of education, everybody should have received a survey to fill out. Remember to fill that out by midnight Tuesday, March the 31st. It's about, we want ideas about education and training, creating that calendar for 2024. We're getting ahead of the game. So if you haven't completed it, please remember to do so. It'll only take about 7 minutes. It's really quick, probably less than that. Okay. And remember all the different benefits that CAR do offer. We provide you with a variety of products, services, programs, and opportunities to help you be more effective and efficient in your job with your clients. If you have any questions on how you can make most and how you can make most of the value that we provide, please reach out to CAR, to the staff and the leadership. We're here to help. All right, as we come to a close this morning of this meeting, I want to congratulate everyone again. Congratulate, let's see here. Also want to close this morning's meeting. I want to recognize Natalie And I don't want to mess your name up. Lynette. Oh, I said Natalie. I already messed up. Lynette and Caitlin Mancini. They both earned, the Graduate Realtor Institute, the GRI. That's a major accomplishment. It's a major accomplishment. In addition, I want to recognize Cynthia Hash and Tilly Jennifer for completing their Broker Premier program with the Virginia Realtors. And that's a fairly new program, so double congratulations on that. Conclude this morning's meeting. I'll say it again. I would like to welcome all the Realtor members. Remember to meet me out on the side there. And all new affiliates. These are some of our new Realtor members and new affiliates. And thank you again for joining us for a meeting. I would look forward to seeing you all in May for our next general membership meeting. That is going to be on May the 18th from 9 to 10:30, the Hillsdale Conference Center. In addition to a disability inclusion and awareness overview and economic update for Albemarle County, we will also go into more specific details on what you should know about and expect for that big change that we're having. CenturyLock. Okay, we're going to provide you with more additional information at that time. That is at our May 18th meeting. If you have any additional questions at that time, we do have a Q&A on our website for the question, what we can't answer at this time, right? Again, meet me outside. We're going to take some pictures. Again, the Pat Jensen Leadership Academy class. Please remember to stay after. I hope that everyone has enjoyed this meeting. And guess what? We're adjourned. Stay for the pictures. Remember to stay for the pictures.